Oh, I started recording. Okay. Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of the ABL review. This time we got week 8, season 20 for the North Division of the ABL. Let's hop into games. Don't have as much to cover here in the North as we did in the South. But let's hop into my game first. This is a game I'm particularly proud of. I play Zach, I feel like, a ton because of playoffs and stuff. And man, this guy's good and typically gets the best of me, but I was really proud of a couple of sets here, so I'm gonna probably have to take some time. Let's make it fast though, right? So get the Keldeo lead here. Really surprised, to be honest, by the fairy play here. I don't know, it caught me off guard. I thought I might get Scarf KO'd here. But the fairy terror comes out, obviously to live like a sacred sword or something. But I guess it's just something he wanted to get off early, right? Skarmory's going to come in on a U-turn. Rocky Helmet, I'm happy to get that chip. Obviously, I'm going to have to get forced out here into Donphan. Really, I knew that this was a risk, that he might just go for the Scald, and I might get burned. But I don't have good answers to Raikou on this team, at least not the way I built it. So, yeah, that'll happen. But I know I'll live another Scald, and I did have Facade. Which this is kind of just a show-off play because I could have, like, Earthquake would have done roughly the same damage. I could have done a little bit more to Lander's Therian. If he was like an Air Balloon Heatran, it would have helped. But I was happy to get off a good amount of damage with Facade there. I thought that was a cool play. Went for Ice Spinner there because I thought it would do more to an incoming Lander's Therian. Wish I would have just kept going for Facade, but also could have gone into Dragapult. So that's a little bit of a bummer that we had the Clefable play there. So this was my whole game plan. I was so excited for this eventuality here. Like, Clefable can't break Ceruledge's Edge's substitute with anything but a knockoff. So if he didn't have knockoff, Ceruledge is in an awesome shape. And plus, I think I EV'd it so that way knockoff wouldn't even do too much. So I just went ahead and set up a Swords Dance. And I'm behind, because I'm behind a sub. I'm immune to the Intimidate, able to get off the Poltergeist, did a lot of damage. Knew he was probably going to be Infiltrator because Clear Body's not great, so unless you're facing Sticky Web. Cursed Body's not really good, so Infiltrator made a ton of sense. So I knew this was going to be Infiltrator. I knew he could hit me through the substitute, but I brought the Kasib Berry. Shit, I keep doing this. Brought the Kasib Berry. I feel like I talk a lot about the type reducing berries, and I'm so glad I got to use one on a set here. Only gonna take 34%, so it wouldn't have KO'd me if I hadn't had it, but it didn't there, and that made me feel good. Raikou's gonna come out, gonna be able to easily break the sub with a Volt Switch. I should have predicted the Heatran coming in, but I mean, what you gonna do? Didn't matter too much because able to follow it up with a Oh, I guess if I'd done Poltergeist before, it would have been better. But at this point, I've taken out 2 of his heaviest hitters, and I still got some good stuff in the back here. Keldeo Resolute. Nothing here resists a Surf, and I'm Choice Specs. Lilligant's gonna come in on the Thunderbolt there. Get a little bit back from recovery. I wish I had... I was dumb. I was Terra Ground, as we'll see here in a second. But I guess I might not have gotten a second Quiver Dance out of it had I Terra'd on the other turn as the Thunder Wave comes out. And at this point, game's over. I don't think I can lose from this spot. Just Energy Ball is going to be able to pick up some KOs. I'm really proud of how the team did. It was just like I had 3 really good sets that worked exactly how they were supposed to work, so I'm really happy for that. Especially happy to get a win versus Zach, who in the past I've really had to hacks to get past. He's a good player, good team builder. I'm just happy to come away with a win, which also secures me a first round bye going into playoffs, which is also a big deal. Can avoid some of the pitfalls of week 1 of playoffs. Now we can move on to our next battle. Another battle that does have first round bye potential implications. Jabron has been on a decent run late in the season. Brett's been on a really good run since he reshuffled his team after starting with 2 losses. So let's hop into this game. We got Meowscarada turn 1 versus the Passimian. Easy switch into Quaquaval. Just like Quaquaval doesn't have a super fantastic matchup here, so why not just try to... it's fine to kind of use it up here. Is able to live that wild charge, get the Aqua Step Moxie Boost. This is what makes this Pokemon so fucking dangerous. It can snowball so quickly. It's real tough. He could have potentially sacked this Quaquaval here, because it just doesn't have much to do at this point. But at the same time, it's something that can pretty well deal with Gliscor, and he had a very safe switch in with Galarian Slowking, so why not? Worst case scenario, he saved a sack in the back, right? Moonblast is going to come out, and we're going to get the Toxic Spikes that go up. That's going to... It's really only... I mean, yeah, it'll wear down Passimian a little bit. It prevents Roaring Moon from setting up too much on a passive Pokemon, but the biggest thing is it's going to slow down that Florges, right? Knockoff, going to get rid of the Black Sludge as we get a Chilly Reception out, and Beartic's here. Beartic has such a fantastic matchup against what's left here, and there's just not a lot... Like, Jabron doesn't have anything for a well-played Beartic, and he protects as he gets the swords in, so that is a well-played Beartic, right? A loaded dice Icicle Spear is going to come out. 4 hits is the minimum it can get, so not hacks by any means. Gets the KO there. Florges is going to come out probably, and then, yeah, I was going to say probably go for a Protect, I can't remember. But now we got the Terra Ice Icicle Spear. Is going to be able to KO everything else on the team with ease. But now we're out of Hail turns. But Jabron is incredibly diminished in what he can do. Corviknight, I don't even know if Corviknight lives this, I don't remember. Gliscor definitely doesn't. Roaring Moon can't KO the Beartic back. So, Brett decides to set up the Snowscape here, which is kind of an interest. I'm torn because I think we're gonna see in a second here how much the Icicle Spear does. Oh right, I think it's a roll. I think he's got to get 5 hits to be able to KO. The crit kind of matters because this is like increased defense Beartic because the hail is up. This would have only done about 50%, so it would have been a roll on 2 body presses, I think. But we see the Icicle Spear comes out. He needs to get 5 hits to get the KO, and he doesn't. So I think that's a 40% chance to get 5 hits, something like that. So 2 kind of bad luck turns for Brett here, because if he doesn't get crit here, he's got a chance to live the second body press. That means he doesn't have to get the 5 Icicle Spears. But it is what it is. Does go down there, so Jabron can avoid getting 6-0'd. Aqua Step's going to come out, give this Quaquaval the boost. Roaring Moon's going to come out, and it's going to take this close combat's going to take it down. Going to be another Moxie boost for Quaquaval. And then Gliscor is going to come in, not be able... Oh, actually does live the Aqua Step, just barely though, and take out the Quaquaval, but it's going to be easily cleaned up by Meowscarada after a quick Protect here. So, big win for Brett, tough loss for Jabron. I believe Jabron is still locked into playoffs regardless because of other things that happened this week. Brett and I play next week. If he wins and Zach loses, then Brett gets a #1 seed. If he wins and Zach wins, or if Brett loses, or sorry, if Zach loses, then, or Zach wins. Zach wins, Zach gets a first round bye. Zach loses, Brett wins, Brett gets a first round bye. Well, both of them lose, Zach gets a first round bye. So that's how that goes. Then we have our last game of the week, which is really good, and also happens to be our marquee match of the week. So we've got Mike taking on Logan. This game got extended, I believe. And I remember watching this game as I was getting home from work, and it was something to behold. So let's hop in. I'm gonna just keep it on normal speed for a while. Normal's too slow. So this is clearly a like prediction turn 1. It's like, okay, I gotta make sure this thing's not a Scarf, so we go into Pecharunt. Pecharunt wouldn't have taken much damage from that Stone Edge, so I'm not gonna really count that as hacks. But Logan pulls a nice double here because like either the Great Tusk is coming in or the 9 Sharp. Oh, because he's 9-tailed. Everything's 9 tails. I get it. I didn't notice that at the time. But Logan pulls a nice double to get Ogerpon back in here. He's just going to go for the Ivy Cudgel, do a ton of damage. Thunderwave comes out. Not something you see too often on Bisharp, but something that is incredibly debilitating for this Ogerpon. Logan's going to go for an Ivy Cudgel, just keep getting chip damage. As the Great Tusk is going to come in. Goes into Lottie. Now, Logan doesn't have a lot of good answers for this Great Tusk at all. This is a rough one for him, but Lottie's his best answer. But it's tough because, like, you kind of reveal what your answer is to it. It changes how people are going to deal with it. So there we go. So this is obviously going to force it out. We get a flip turn here. Logan's goal here is to get rid of this Bisharp so that we can start clicking Luster Purge. That's clearly what he's got to get done. So he's going to flip turn out on this Bisharp. Or Pico's going to come in. He's going to Hunger Switch into Dark Mode. The Great Tusk's going to come in on Aura Wheel, chips it down a little bit. Logan later in the battle reveals Knockoff. It's really what he needed to go for on this turn because every time Great Tusk comes in, let's say it takes 14%, it forces this, and then he gets leftovers back. Then he forces this out, and he gets leftovers back on that turn. So this Aura Wheel's really, in reality, only doing 2%, right? So not really doing great for him. Salamence is going to come in. Logan's really doing a good job of switching up what his Great Tusk switch-in is, trying to keep Mike guessing. But the problem is the 2 switch-ins that he showed are both weak to ice. One of them's 4 times weak to ice. One of them's already weakened. So if this Great Tusk has Ice Spinner, he's in a tough spot. So the Salamence is going to go ahead. Does DD up here? No? Oh, no, it just goes for dual wing beat. So gets off really nice damage here. Now, this is a speed tie here. They're both 100 base speed. So we'll see what happens. Salamence wins it and takes out the Ninetales, gets a Moxie boost. This should draw out one of 2. No, never mind. There's 3 things he could go into. And he goes into the Walking Way. So this is obviously going to force out this Salamence into the Ogerpon Hearthland, which Logan's pretty much just sacking at this point. Yeah, I think that's gotta be Specs. I know it's Protosynthesis and everything, but that's gotta be Choice Specs. So Regice is going to come in and set up the Snowscape, get rid of that nasty, nasty sun, right? Now, Bisharp has a obvious type matchup over this Regice, probably going to force it out into the Morpeko. Yep, here we go. Nice Sucker Punch there. And now we're going to have Morpeko, I believe, go for the knockoff here. Nope, another Aura Wheel. Yep, see, 14% again, and it's just going to make that back a little bit every turn. Now the Salamence is going to come out, and that's where he gets the Ice Spinner. Salamence going down is a big deal. This really puts Logan behind because now he's got support Pokemon and Pecharunt, support Pokemon and Regice. Morpeko, which doesn't have a great matchup versus this Tusk, or it's not bad versus the other things that have a good speed boost, but Lottie's the only other thing here that can really threaten things well. With the Latios coming in, we're going to see another flip turn. So we're seeing this cycle here, and we're going to see Morpeko come in. And now this is the turn, I believe he goes for the knockoff, which he needed to do a long time ago. This Great Tusk would have about 24% less HP, so it would have been down in the, 36 range. Much easier to deal with. And now we're just going to see Pecharunt come out on the Headlong Rush. Takes a lot of damage from that, but that's a lot for sure. And we're going to have to see Logan play around that, but that's honestly encouraging, so you'll see what happens later. So, hard switch into Morpeko. Really smart play by Logan there to get that. This is what gets him back in this game because he's in a really bad spot. Getting Morpeko in here is absolutely huge. Because, and then he's gonna make another double switch here to get the Lottie in on the Great Tusk. Logan's really doing a good job of forcing the matchups he needs because he is so far behind. Once either the Great Tusk goes down or the Bisharp goes down, whichever one goes down first opens up Morpeko or Lottie for the rest of the game. So see a flip turn come out, finally kill that Bisharp. That's good news for Lottie because now all the Luster Purge switches are gone. He can start getting KOs with that. Morpico's going to come in, and that's obviously going to draw in the Great Tusk. Oh no, it draws in the Cleavor. So we're going to see, oh, Fake Out, nice. Forgot about that. So we're probably going to, we're going to see U-turn here, kill the Morpico. So Alolan Ninetales is going to come in, and I think that pretty much invites in Regice. Yeah, nothing that this Alolan Ninetales can really do. I'm going for Ancient Power, just trying to get the boost a little bit. Walking Wake's going to come in behind the veil in the snow. So I hate this Regice set, okay? I'm going to let it run for a little bit, but we're going to talk about it. So Flamethrower is going to come out, doesn't really do much damage as we've seen Amnesia go up. That means this next Flamethrower that comes out is going to do like less than 20%, right? And we get to see the Ice Body, so it regenerates 18%. Another Amnesia comes up. It's going to be doing like 12%. Unfortunately, the snow's gone, but Logan's going to set it back up with Snow State and get that recovery. This is a fundamentally bad Regice set, so we're also going to see an Ice Beam come out here. I think next turn? Yeah, Ice Beam comes out. Does pretty much no damage. Granted, Aurora Veil's up. Now, this is, like I was talking to Logan about this, this is a fundamentally bad Pokemon set, right? But this is the equivalent to the Jordan rules. For those of you who don't know what the Jordan rules are, it's when I think it was the Pistons, right? Anyways, when teams were playing the Bulls, the Chicago Bulls with Michael Jordan on them, they basically just like, hey, we're going to come up with a set of rules that we follow that neutralize Michael Jordan. And if you did that against any other team, it wouldn't work, but it works against Michael Jordan. This Regice set is the Jordan rules of Walking Wake. It's the Walking Wake rules. This beats Walking Wake 1v1, and it does nothing else, and it really makes him vulnerable to other things on the team, but it works for this instance. He's about to go to +4, I think. Yeah, he gets the last Amnesia off, so now the Ice, he's only going to be net losing 3% HP every turn. He's stalled out the Aurora Veil, and he's gonna have eliminated the Walking Wake. He's neutralized it. Like, this is not a set that should work. And if Mike had just gone into Cleavor, he would have forced out the Regice on low HP, and he would have been able to come back in and do it later. I don't know why Mike allowed this Regice to take out this Walking Wake. It's a bad situation for him because can't go into Alolan Ninetales against this Regice because the Regice is going to be able to heal up because I believe Hail ends here. So he can't, if he goes into Alolan Ninetales, he just gives this thing the recovery back, right? And he can't KO it. So he has to go into one of his physical attackers. And his physical attackers don't really deal with the rest of the team very well at this point. Levor's going to come in, go ahead and KO the Regice. I'm surprised. If he had Stone Axe, he needed to go for it there. Just to keep the Latios and the Pecharunt from being able to switch freely. So Latios is going to come in. This thing's obviously Scarf, but Latios is going to be able to live. He's going to be able to fire off a Luster Purge and get a KO, which he does here. There you go. Cleavor's down. Now Logan's got the fastest thing on the field, and he's going to be able to weaken this Alolan Ninetales. Oh no, he goes hard into Pecharunt as the Aurora Veil goes up. Pecharunt's going to be able to get some Black Sludge recovery. He really should have clicked Blizzard here. If he clicks Blizzard on that turn, I think that he wins because I don't think if Pecharunt lives it, it's too low to really do anything else. So now this Pecharunt's back up to full health, and it's gonna show off that it's faster than this Great Tusk, be able to Parting Shot out. Remember how much that the Headlong Rushes were doing the first time? Not gonna be able to do that much anymore. Because of the Parting Shot, he's -1. Ice Spinner is going to be able to KO the Lottie. Very good prediction. But now we have this full health Pecharunt taking on this now weakened Great Tusk. And we're going to see Malignant Chain come on. Malignant Chain has a 50% chance to Toxic. And when he does, because of the ability Pecharunt's Poison Puppeteer, he's going to confuse him. And that's exactly what happens. He gets the Toxic Poison, gets the Confusion. Headlong Rush still goes off, but it's not doing enough damage now because he Parting Shotted him a couple turns ago. Now this thing is severely weakened. Logan's going to be able to just kind of recover and stay healthy. And the Aurora Veil isn't going to be able to go back up. Moonblast coming out just because it's the most accurate thing you can do. It's another Malignant Chain Poison. Both of these things are toxic now. Pecharunt is in a run out the clock situation. To keep the sports metaphors going, Logan just has to keep taking knees. He doesn't have to overplay anything. He's got everything he needs done. Now he can start going for hexes, because that's going to be more widely usable. So you see the hex come out, do a bunch of damage to this Great Tusk. Logan, if he wanted to, could Parting Shot here to weaken the... actually, no, he's faster anyway, so he can just follow up with another hex, right? Yeah, but he also could have done that. And at this, he took out the Great Tusk. That's the only thing that made him super effective. Alolan Ninetale's going to have to come in. He's going to have to get a Blizzard. 46. So when did I say that he needed to... How many turns ago? We're going to come back to this in a minute because you can see what happens. Where was that turn? This is the turn that I said he should have clicked Blizzard. Because if he clicks Blizzard on that turn instead of switching, he's got a chance to KO this Pecharunt and be done with the game, right? We're going to see end of the game here. Clicks Blizzard, needs a freeze, doesn't get it. Hex is going to be able to take him down there. At this point, Logan needs to not get frozen. So he's just... Does it have... So another Blizzard comes out. Thankfully for Logan, he doesn't get frozen. But now he just has to avoid getting crit on this last turn. And he doesn't. Alolan Ninetale is going to get taken out with that Toxin Poison Puppeteer. Logan definitely got lucky in this battle, but he also, I think, had a bad matchup against Great Tusk, and he had an opponent that was playing well, and Logan made really aggressive doubles to get advantageous positions, and he also had a really stupid set that just worked. But I think that kind of wraps up how I feel. Like, that was a great game. A really good game here. We have so many good games down the stretch. Let's go take a look at the standings and see where everyone is. So, we already talked about my situation. My game versus Brett doesn't matter. If I lose and Brett wins and Zach loses, then Brett gets the number 1 seed and I get the number 2 seed. Not a huge deal. I'd like to keep the number 1 seed, but also a lot of that's out of my control, because even with a win, if Zach loses, then I guess he gets the number 2 seed. If I win, I get the... Yeah. I guess there is something for me to win, because then I can maybe avoid playing Zach or Brett in the second round, right? So that's nice. Let's look at some of the other stuff that's going on. Down here, none of these 3 teams are actually out of playoff contention. So, fuck me, I keep doing this. I can't believe anybody watches this at all. Okay. None of these teams are out of playoff contention. I should have it on this one, because I'm going to swap back and forth between the schedules. So, here's the games we got. Drew versus Jabron. They're right in the middle of things here. Jabron is vulnerable at 3 and 4 with these 2 losses. Make him pretty vulnerable, right? Or no, these are 2 wins he has. With the loss to Logan, makes him vulnerable only to Logan, weirdly enough. So, if Jabron loses and Logan wins, Logan takes Jabron's playoff spot. So that's really important. That's a really important game to Logan. Logan doesn't totally hold his fate in his hand. Logan plays Zane in this last week, I believe. Yeah. Logan plays Zane. Logan needs to win, which will put him at 3 and 5. And then all of the other playoff teams have tiebreakers against Logan, with the exception of Jabron. So Logan's really rooting for Drew this week. Drew, who also can't miss playoffs. Win or lose, Drew's not going to playoffs. He can't get a first round bye. He can't get bumped out. Really, he can only hope to maintain this 4th seed here, is really what he needs to try to do. Actually, there is a situation where he gets a 3 seed, but that's about it. But he definitely can't drop lower than that. So Jabron needs to win to protect his playoff spot from Logan. Curtis needs to protect his playoff spot from Zane. Does Mike not have a path to playoffs? Am I missing something? Mike can't make playoffs. I might be, but... Okay. So Zane needs a win and a Curtis loss to making playoffs. Who does Curtis play? I forget. I think he plays... Maybe he plays Mike? No. Oh, Curtis is off. Okay. So that's why. Okay. So Zane wins. He takes Curtis's playoff spot. That's way easier. Zane has a much better spot of avoiding relegation, making playoffs. Because all he has to do is win. If he beats Logan, he goes to playoffs. If Logan beats Zane, then Logan still needs help from Jabron. Well, really from Drew. All right? Curtis is off. Got Zach playing Mike. Mike needs a win to avoid relegation. If Mike wins, then he also needs... Gotta win. So he's got a tiebreaker over Zane. He needs Zane to lose. I don't know. I can't remember. It's too messy. It's too messy. I can't keep track of it. And the other game is me versus Brett. We talked about the implications of that, but that's what we got going on. So this involves number 1 seed implications. This involves relegation and playoff implications. This is playoff implications. This is relegation and number 1 seed implications. So a lot going on here. You know what? I was opposed to 6 teams making playoffs, but it does make for some much more interesting late season potential. So let's work out. Okay, let's work this out. If Mike wins, okay, he goes to 3-5. Zane or Logan will get a win. One of them is going to be 3-5. Ideally for Mike, though, it's Zane that goes to 3-5 because he has a tiebreaker over him. So if Zane goes to 3-5, but he makes playoffs, Zane automatically moves to the 6th spot. So maybe that's then. Oh, but then these 3 teams could end up at 3-5, and Washington. Okay, so then we have a 3-way tiebreaker, and so not only does Mike need to win to make playoffs, not only does Mike need to win, but he needs to win like at least 4-0 to have a good shot at making. But he has a really good opal to make playoffs. He just needs to tie Zane in Peru. So he needs to if Zane wins 4-0 versus Logan, then Mike misses playoffs. It's going to be messy. But again, we're going to try to keep things as live as we can when battles go up. So stay tuned for that. Yeah, I'll try to keep people updated. But this is going to be really exciting down the stretch. Changes. Some people changed their Terra captains. Washington, Alabama, Brooklyn, and Seattle all changed their Terra captains a little bit. But no ad drops here in the final week. Teams are locked in their current configuration going into playoffs. Detroit Steel Wings made no changes to their roster all season with the exception of some Terra tweaks, I think. Is that true? Did they do anything? Control F, DSW. Yeah, no, this is their team at draft, and they never changed it once, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, that's where we are. Really looking forward to playoffs down the stretch here. Thank you all for a really great season. I'll see you next week. Goodbye.